Hi, I'm Jeff Groh and welcome to Gravity. This month we're talking about wrestling. A lot of wrestlers out there. I tried wrestling when I was in high school. Too intense for me. I tried it for a year and a half and bailed out because I was the new guy. The National Federation of State High School Association, whatever that is, right, estimates that there's over 275,000 high school wrestlers, of which 6,000 of those are female. And that's growing. You see that number growing every year. Now this doesn't include collegiate, so you can probably add another 100,000 on at least, and you've got a fairly big population of wrestlers. And what a tough sport it is. There's takedowns, there's single leg sweeps, there's reversals, there's cradling, there's spladling. Some of these terms I don't even remember, but what we do is we get on YouTube, we look at videos, you try to kind of get the gist of what's going on. And with wrestling, it's probably one of the most dynamic sports I've ever had to watch in slow motion and try to break it down to look for common denominators. So some of the injuries that occur in wrestling, the number one stat that popped out to me doing the research is that over 50% will at least have one injury throughout the season. Now, I can probably, that sounds about right because it is a rough sport. There's firemen's throws, there's people flying in the air. It's tough. So there's an increased risk to your shoulders, to your knees, everything based on, our probable suspect for all those injuries is the takedown, because a lot of times they're up in the air and you're literally driving body weight down into probably a 2-inch thick foam mat. It doesn't have a lot of give in it, but you come down on your shoulders, you get that AC joint popping, you get all kinds of, trauma to the wrist and whatnot, shoulder, neck, everything kind of can get traumatized. We can't necessarily help with that, but we can take a look at the strategies of wrestling and come up with common denominators with regards to what the injuries are and how we can accommodate those with conditioning programs. Now this is a fast and powerful sport. Again, watch it on YouTube. It's tough to break down. But the lead leg, when you look at some of the moves, when you start to shoot, you get that lead leg, that's very susceptible to injury. That was another thing that popped up in the research, is that the lead leg can be, is more susceptible to injury. It's kind of out there, it's moving at a tremendously fast pace, and you're doing a bottom or top down driver, so you're shooting with your arms, you're getting all these motions, and I'm doing them at about a quarter speed it actually happens, that are gonna tweak that knee. So we have to be careful there, and that mat's pretty sticky, so you don't get a lot of wiggle jiggle on that mat. So what's that equate to? It equates to torque. So some of the common denominators that when we look at wrestling is that there's a lot of incredible power through extension and flexion of the trunk. Whether you're trying to get out of a grasp, or you're trying to reverse, or you're trying to escape, those motions are going to help you escape out. So a lot of extension, powerful movement that uses the whole body, the whole chain up and down. There's a lot of planking as well. If you see people, watch a video and you'll see a guy that's almost getting pinned, you'll see him press his heels to get that bridging effect, or that press the heels up, get the shoulder up. So you're driving through extension of the hips, you're driving that rotation, whatever you can do to avoid the pin. So the drivers are very important in our program for the same concept that we did with the other sports. Is we're going to have more of a readiness program, or a complete off-season program, and then a pre-season wrestling program, because nothing can match the demands of wrestling like wrestling itself. But we can do that, whatever we can do to help those athletes better condition themselves, to set themselves up for a successful season, and hopefully be on the other side of the 50% that don't get injured. Okay, welcome back to the Gravity this season. This is wrestling phase 2, or more of the advanced program. So we're going to have some advanced challenges. We're going to build on what we learned in the initial program and really continue on with this whole strategy of 3D strength, meaning that we're going to go after the upper body three-dimensionally. So we're going upper body strength, 3 different planes of motion, always having something to do with another plane rather than just this gosh darn sagittal plane we get caught up in all the time. So we're going to also do some stabilization for the shoulder, build on some of those planks that we did in phase 1 with more dynamic up and down type of movement. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to bring Brian in already. He's not going to come after me this time. I'm going to be low. Look, I can get low. Shoot the moon, right? Shoot the gap. Oh, that's football. Okay, so we're going to start off with some basic shoulder stability. So he's going to step towards the lower base and just kind of be in this just lying prone position. And just starting off, again, we're assuming that this client has gone through a relatively nice dynamic warm-up, so we're past that at this point. Now we're just going to drive the glide board up and down, stabilizing through the shoulders, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Maybe I want to decrease the base of support down here. I can have him bring one leg up and do that same thing. Back and forth, you can see that typically the client will go into more of a bridge position. And then you can also stagger the hands back and forth. Now what we're really after is a lateral stability, but driving the arms in different planes. So I'm gonna have you take a break, go ahead and stand up. We'll let the F-18 fly by with our naval forces. He's gonna go now into a lateral plank position. So he's gonna be facing the camera, and we'll look to line him up. He staggers his legs out, and we're gonna just look to get the body in a nice plane of motion here. The hands directly below the shoulder, and it's very unstable, so we're already in an advanced position. And what we're gonna do now is take his other hand and drive it in 3 planes. So the first thing he's gonna do is drive it up overhead, laterally. Very good. And next, when he comes back, he doesn't know it's coming, but we're gonna add a weight, right? So I've got a power block, any type of weight. It's gonna be a tweak to the exercise, and we won't make him do a lot of these. Now what he's gonna do is take that same weight and he's gonna drive it in that transverse plane. So thread the needle and all the way back with the lengthening through the trunk. Back and forth, back and forth. And then one more plane before he's fatigued out. He's gonna go back and forth, forward and down. So starting here and just driving straight up overhead. Back and forth. And you're gonna press your hips forward as you press up and a little bit higher on this end. Good, so it's one direction here, all the way back. All right, nice work. Do that with both sides. He's lucky, I had the 12 pounders right there, so this is probably about 2 pounds. I'm just kidding, it's more than that. Okay, so that's our lateral plank. You obviously do the other side, and now we're gonna go back to those fancy pants crouching tigers, right? So you can do crouching tiger with the scrunch, which is absolutely fine. You can also do it with the press bar, which is what we're gonna try now. And the scrunch is probably the preferential attachment here to use. This will work just as well because we want to give you options just in case you don't have a scrunch. So we're going to have him get back into that scrunch position. And this time, instead of going through crouching tiger on his knees, we're going to put him up on his toes right away, and his knees are going to hover about 2 inches above the board each time. So he's going to bring the glide board back down, all the way down this way, and then press it back up until you got a nice straight line all the way through the body. There you go. Back and forth. Looking good. Now, the progression for this, although it's already progressed, is that we're going to do the same thing with one foot going up and the other coming back. So just like that, perfect. So as he presses up through the hip, comes back down. Big stability component down in the upper body, huge mobility and strength component in the lower body. Getting transverse plane loads because his leg is heavier on one side, obviously, so his pelvis is trying to rock. He's doing a really good job of keeping that nice and stable. Go ahead and take a break. Obviously, you do both sides. If you want to get nasty, you can put ankle weights or something that weighs something on his ankle, so it's going to give more challenge to the hip. So you've got our hip extensions with our crouching tigers. Are you done?
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, next we're going to go right up to the upstairs, give the lower body a break, some of the trunk a break, and go into a pull-up, but it's going to look a little bit more like Pilates, so to speak, because we're going to be doing a pull-up. First, we're going to warm up with just some basic pull-ups, but doing a bilateral pull-up, so up with 2, and then taking one hand off and going down nice and slow. So we'll warm him up with a few repetitions here. I'll go ahead and grab another modality. And what we're going to do is now add this. First, we'll do it without the weight, is have you go through extension with one arm as you pull up. So if you look at some of the wrestlers always trying to extend through and get out of these positions to get those escape or reversal points, this is just going to help drive the upper back through extension. As you're getting more of that lat, biceps, brachialis, everything's getting strong on the right side. If I want to, I can give him a gift here. Other side's good, so we'll work on the left side, and he'll do that same thing, but a huge increase in the challenge, even with a little bit of weight because of this long lever. So I'll take that back. You can go in that sagittal plane. You can also do the same thing if you want to try one. He says yes, he wants to try one. Yes. Just try it without the weight, and you're just going to go do kind of a pull-up and then a rotation with this arm. There you go, and just really drive it up over your head that way. There you go. Back and forth. So we're making the pull-up a little more exciting. You can use these with any clients, but with the wrestlers, they're going to like it because it's a nice challenge. Back strength, back strength, back strength. If they have any pain because of that hyperextension, just wax the exercise. Take it off the menu. Okay, the next is going to be a reverse scrunch. We've already done the reverse scrunch. So we're gonna make up some stuff, right? Because we don't have a board anymore. So what we're gonna do is what we haven't done is gone through the shoulders. We gotta get powerful shoulders in wrestling. So what we're gonna do is have him come down to a prone, reverse prone position. So your head's gonna be down this way and you're gonna do overhead press. That's the ticket. Chest will be down at the bottom. And he's just gonna press up. Now what we're gonna do is create a little bit more of a challenge for him because everybody knows how to do the overhead press, but I want him to start right off the get-go with plyo presses. So he's gonna press up, explode, and decelerate down. Watching the wrists that they land a little bit more flat so you don't tweak the wrist in the sagittal plane or with hyperextension. Keeping the chest down on the board each time, and then we can go right into a bilateral explosion with a unilateral deceleration. So up, 2, down, 1. So you're gonna explode up, decelerate down, keeping that body in one line. I can stand behind the client and watch to see is that spine veering off one way or the other in the frontal plane. I can add weights. I can put a med ball right on his lumbar spine, right? A little biofeedback and have him do all kinds of stuff there. Anything to add more resistance. We've got some more inclination there that we can tweak as well. Okay, he's gonna come back up. Now we're gonna go, remember we talked about holding, gripping. We had that cradle row that we worked on. So we're working on rotation with the pull. So we're getting the headlock in there. We're locking people in, whether it's an ankle, a hip, an eye, or whatever you have in your arm, you can work with that. So now we're gonna work on a bigger lever arm, and we're gonna go after the chest. So we're gonna go chest fly, and I always like to show trainers, clients, whoever's interested in knowing the weird stuff that I like to share, is that we're gonna train our chest. However, we're gonna be facing the tower. So it's not traditional or conventional thinking to think we're gonna do that, but what we're gonna do is focus on the shortened range. So we've got to take those muscles and shorten them down and then add load. So what we're gonna do is give Brian these nice handles. And what he's gonna do is almost like a bear hug. He's gonna come across and he's gonna realize how tough this is right away because you can't see it, but as if he comes up and holds, this angle to his lever is about 90 degrees, so the load is skyrocketed, and he just goes back and forth, crisscrossing one hand over the other, and really coming up and holding for a couple seconds each time. Make it challenging. His biceps are loaded, his pecs are loaded, all the muscles of the wrist, forearms, strong stuff. You gotta have a real nice grip in wrestling to be able to hold on to whatever you got. How's that feel?
Good.
Does it feel easy?
No.
All right, good, because we got a lot, we can come up a couple levels.
I think we're good.
All right, next we're gonna finish him off with a static equilibrium biceps curl set. So again, we're going after bis, pecs, everything in that shortened range. So pull one up, and I want you to go as fast as you can until I stop talking. It might be a while. So as you can see, his trunk's stabilizing, his biceps are starting to wonder what's going on, everything's kind of saying, all right, we're through. So that was a quick and easy, simple little workout for wrestlers, right? He's just getting started. So anyway, take those ideas, use that scrunch board, the press bar, use whatever you got and watch those videos, or go to a wrestling meet and watch what's happening. That way you can see what the functional demands are that you can build up with a traditional or conventional basic program and add in or layer in these functional applications where you get into different planes of motions, where you duplicate that environment and you create a strong, stable athlete in all three planes of motion, and they don't get injured. How's that? So meet us next time on Gravity This Season, and here we go. 2 points right there. Solid. Where'd he come from? Nice work.